Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Finding the Spirits Inside. This is Diann Henry. I am on a journey. My guide is my brother, Steve Henry, to loose myself of the worldly bounds, and discover how to access and then indeed access the spirits inside. Thank you for joining us. And Steve, how are you?
Just great. How yourself? Well, let's get this straight. You don't access the spirits inside. You use them. You know what I mean? If you adopt the spirit of speaking in the English language, how do you confirm that you adopted that spirit? You adopted for one purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
To use it, and all the people in that same character, they receive the words that you put out inside of themselves, even over the airways through these things, because that's the spirit of Christ when you adopted that spirit. Everything you adopt in that same area, like the same blue, the same numbers, the same all those things, we see it the same. You know what I mean? And if you go out and get it from any other area, you won't be able to see it. The things of the gospel truth is to be received inside your heart. That's that. Once you receive it, we all see the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. But the ones who don't receive it, what's the story? So you heard the preachers talking about the ones with any other gospel. There ain't but one gospel that we see the same. All the stories are different for whoever telling it, right? Because we all see things differently. But everything we see in the gospel, we see the same from our perspective. We see the same number 38 in the same window. But I use it for what I see in my house, and you must use it for what? What should you use the 38 for?
38, same thing.
Where? Inside of anybody else's house or inside of yours?
Inside mine.
Right, because that gospel is how you judge what they looked at. You know what I'm saying? In other words, without you receiving the color blue from the gospel truth, who is that going to affect other than you?
No one.
You be the one who can't see it, but all the other people who receive it in that spirit are inside of their own body. The spirits are inside of you. You know, I didn't forget about our little parable on the last outing with three children get to school and get to third grade. But you summed it up, you know. Once you've shown that you can see, there's no way that you can get to overcome the things in front of you in life by going back there visiting them every Sunday and every Wednesday and building your eyes, and your children can't take it. Because in order for you to take that child to American Got Talent or something, can you be back there bending down the rock too? Because American Got Talent is happening where way down on the other end, other side that you didn't take. So if you don't have to, you can't take the child there and have them down and praying too, okay? So the opposite ends of the spectrum, how you gonna do it? So you have to break away from it and go. But you see those people, they going into the history books, right? Are you learning what? The future or history? You're learning history, believing it's going to turn into the future. Is that correct?
No.
But that's what you're learning to believe. That somebody's going to come back in the outside world. The same person who told you remember reading 14th of John, he say, I'm going into the Father, and the world will see me no more. But now, he's talking to the people inside. It's equivalent to what we're doing right now. You can't take nothing from here outside. They don't see this happening. But at the beginning, it's got to take quite a bit to turn you around at the beginning. But once you turn around, ain't nothing but smooth sailing all the way. But I got to knock down all the blinders that's got you blind. But I got to do it in every character. So that's how I picked the verses to add. Because you got to see, you got to overcome the era of Christ. Overcoming it means what? Learn it or pass through it.
We'll go with pass through.
You got to pass through it, right? So you'll be able to use these things that he's telling the people what to do. You got to know the things. You ain't got to do it. But when the situation arises, you know, well, hey, that means that. But that's what he said, right? If you do anything other than what he said on this thing, you don't have to go out looking for it. It's like the numbers. They just line up together. You don't go around trying to remember which one it was. You pass right by them when you practice it, right? Then anytime one of those numbers pop up, you know what it is because it identifies itself. You don't have to keep up with it. It's like watching a soap opera. You go back to the beginning and you do it in the correct order. And each time it turns on another little light, another little light. Those things are in the story. But when you go in there wondering what it's there for, which you got to know that don't make no sense, right? Because we went over and over and over back to doing that gospel truth. When you can possibly receive something, you can't know nothing about it already. Anything you know about already, there's no way you can possibly receive it. You remember those days? Mm-hmm. Because when you're trying to see where it's going, you think you're doing yourself a favor. Because you only can see what you already know. Then you can't use it. The purpose of using the spirit of the gospel truth, you can use them to go the same way, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're not going that way, can any of that make sense to you? No. But like anyone that you was with, if you do this, I say 5 more times. They can't see none of that. I told you at the beginning, if anyone that you know will be around now, you got to come away from that. They still up there in your life, but when you come here, you have to start from where you started, and it's like watching a movie. Once you see it, who can tell you anything about it? No one. But when the newness is about them, you used to looking for something, and coming to find out, all that getting shot down, right? And is it being told it was wrong, or are you seeing it for yourself? Seeing it. Okay, so you can't be so crazy. You keep seeing the snake bite somebody when they pass the tree, and then you walk past the same tree not being aware. Does that make sense? No. So would you be smart or damn fool to get bit by the snake you seen back and all the rest of it? That seems pretty foolish. Okay. Well, the math don't lie, right? No. You ever seen a situation where the math lie? You made a life of it, right? Right. You math teacher been that way all your life, right? And you ain't seen one incident that it lied. So when you think you're gonna be going back there, listening to somebody else, showing you what you got, how you gonna not have what they got? And you see they ain't got nothing because they believe it. And they selling you somebody else's words. That's the biggest clue. You read the book and then you go pay somebody to read it to you. And you think you saved? Oh, damn fool. Either one or the other. Which one? According to the math. The math is in the gospel. The gospel always use the math. And have you one time seen the math be untrue? No. Because the math don't lie, right? Okay, now, we're going to did I give you the Bible verse for this trip? Yes, you said Mark 4. Yeah, Mark 4. But we did that in the lead up. Right? I hadn't said it on this thing. Okay, Mark 4. Yeah, everything has got. Those are you're not learning these things and doing them. You got to bypass them, knowing that it's inside this house. You understand that part, right? The foundation of anything you do in that era had to be in the gospel truth. Any other foundation, how can you use the John the Baptist foundation or Jesus foundation? Why could you? Jesus and John the Baptist was in the era of the law and the prophets, Moses' time. You know, most people don't know that, right?
Okay.
This was in another era. You can't be in the era with him. He was on the inside. The apostles started the gospel truth by him being on the inside, sending out. This time was with Moses in there. He closed that out after Malachi. You know, John was saying, hey, it's going to change. They wasn't coming. He's going to take away the sin of being out in the world. Because you can't be inside the spirit where all the action is and out in the world too. I'm inside the spirit. And you can know it's in the area of the gospel truth because it lines up with the gospel truth, right? I don't have to tell you. You know it in your heart, right? I don't have to say believe it because you believe it means what? You know it or you don't know. Okay. It ain't never going to change, right? Can't nothing change. And not a one single thing move or change. And once you know that, everything is just like the number. Everything is yours. It's inside of you. But you can't hold on to none of it and get anything else. And it's pretty simple. You get the numbers, you can just move on. We can go together. 88,002, 16 below 0, 15. We right together, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the people who don't know the number, they ain't got no idea because we got to know them in this area of the gospel truth. There are many things out there. All the things you got, it's not in the gospel truth. It's, you think you got, but they ain't no good. Because you got to use them where they are. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Anything you got in the gospel truth, I don't care where you go. Every one of them is yours because they're yours inside. Now, anything you can't go to, a new place you've never been and use, you think it's yours? It belongs to the world. Because whatever yours, it goes to the grave with you. All that you leave out there, is it yours?
No.
And the people you see out there in the world, you think, oh, no, it's the spirit of the people that live. What you see out there in the world is the reason why they're out there in the world. You know that, right? But people like Dolly Parton, Michael Jackson, Steve Jobs, anybody who done something, the spirit of them is inside of you. By them doing something, does that mean they had the right spirit or the wrong one? They did something, but that's how you know them, right? Do you know how many people are in the graveyard you don't know?
A bunch.
Okay, then. But the ones who's supposed to be in the graveyard that you know of, you know their voice, you know their dish, you know their sound out of all the biggies of things. It's because of what? Because you just smart or because they showed you their spot by introducing something. They turn the light on in their window inside of you. I don't care who it is on that planet. You hear Dolly Parton voice, they got to tell you that that's who it is. Because she turned her light on. Everyone who turned their light on, if it's in your interest, you see it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now what I'm going to do is turn my light on inside of you, but when you see the light, let's say when you turn on the algebra, all the things inside the algebra do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Turn on multiplication, all of them inside there the multiplication do, right?
Yeah.
When you go to the window, you ain't got to separate this all. You see how it works, right? It's the same thing with this guy. It's not mine. It's the one that I open up. But things go on from here on. But see, I can't. If you got to overcome all the things here in order for you to add something, how do you plan to do it? Gonna start a life and walk up from Christ?
Say that again.
If you know that in order for you to add you a place in the world, it's got to be on the other side of everything. How you plan to do it? Walk up to the life of Christ? Or sit here and talk with your brother who's on the other side? See, you ain't thinking, you're looking for some magical thing. You're doing it right now. Because it's, we doing it across the cloud. You will create it in the cloud. And everyone who follow the pathway, they got to get it from where? In the cloud where you put it, right?
Yeah.
Now, do you think it's be possible for you to show someone something you don't know?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so when you get the alphabet, to be sure there's no one in there but you, to be sure you on the right track. Ain't you kind of got to show the alphabet to somebody like practice because ain't nobody in there but you?
Mm-hmm.
But what they receive it, that's telling you that you got it, right?
Yeah.
But you gonna show it to somebody who already knew it?
No.
Okay, so by who can determine whether the person knew it or not? That's why when Christ tell the people, if nobody don't hear you, he tell you what to do, right? Just what you call that. So you think we say, well, look, you go and you say this. When they don't hear you, you knock the blood off your feet and you go on. How you going to change it? When they can hear you, that means that the defenses is let down inside of them, they receptive to it. Because they listen. See, you're all right because you listen. I work with very many people, they just can't wait on their turn to talk. And when you wait on your turn to talk, can you listen to it?
I'm going no.
You cannot, because you sit down, I want to see this, I want to say it. You don't know when the other person wants to stop. And you're missing all the things, trying not to forget what you was trying to say because it's something, you don't know what it is, you just want to talk about it. It seems like you're smart. But what that shows is, you're kind of dumb, right? You can't learn nothing you're talking about. How? You only can talk about what you know, and you only can learn what you don't. You can't learn nothing by talking, you got to listen. Then you're all right. I have to force you to talk. I mean, it probably got something to do with
No. Not at all. Not at all.
Well, I felt big. I ain't never threatened nobody. I threatened to beat you. Solid page. No, but get back to it though. Now, the point is, I don't know how you do your thing. I don't do none of that. But this is, I'm the tree. And this is the vine you create. Now, how does someone connect to the vine? I guess look like to me now. And we all different. But it been me. I know I got to, if I get something, only I can go up through it. I got to pass by it. And if I pass by it, I got to pass it to somebody, right? It's going to vanish behind you. How you going to, in order to have a pathway, you got to leave a marker. In other words, if you go track through the forest to find something, ain't you going to have to kind of, you just go walking? How you going to get back? Ain't you got to leave a trail or a marker?
Yeah.
Or when you get there, it's going to be closed up behind you, right? If you don't leave a marker. You know that, right?
Okay.
Well, when somebody goes to somewhere ain't never been, it's feel like if you're bringing something to the world never been, ain't you got to leave it? I'm missing the first step, and that, the second step, and that. Ain't you got to leave it in writing or something?
Yeah.
Or once you cook the cake, what you going to do? Cook the cake, then go back and write it down? No, the trial and error, when you start going, you got to record the steps. So when they go off the thing, you see it. You see it building because you got to have it, you got to have it transcribed somewhere. How you going to see it? Because once you get the alphabet vowel down, if you just go on and read and write, you didn't leave it for nobody else. So if it's something new to you, ain't you got to leave a pathway for somebody to follow you?
Okay, yeah.
The pathway is inside of them. In other words, if I do that, if I'm building a house, every time I do something, building a house, the people are helping me. I show them. I do the shit first. And I'm gonna show them the last step without the first one. And I show them all the way through it. But my, people close to you have to argue with them because they say, "Why you can't tell me it won't work if you don't go that way." It don't let it work like that. Everything works exactly like it works. And the sooner you come to know that, the better you be. Because you know it ain't gonna move the way you believe it is. The numbers are exactly where they are. The addition is exactly where it is. They can't ever move. But if you want it to be where you want to be, can you get it?
No.
That thing you're looking for is gonna keep you where? Outside of it, it can't move. But like I'm saying, you're gonna have to. I don't know how you do that thing, but you got to build this house. You build it on a thing, but it's anybody join in, they got to join into it. It ain't no. You can't take it to the outside. It won't move. This ain't what they do out there. They don't see it. They need it. But you can't show nobody something you don't know, can you?
No.
So your testimony would be true or false.
It would be false.
Okay, but if you know it, it's true. Once you know the alphabet, you can show it to anybody, right? And once you show them to them, that means you work for this cause or the one outside.
The one outside. We are approaching our time to listen to the verse. So is there a final message?
Yeah, the final message is I keep showing you this Christ thing. He's telling you what to see and what to do. Now you're trying to go past it, so when the things arise to you, you got to work your way through it. You can't read your way through it. You have to practice it. Once you see something from this gospel truth of Christ, show it to other people. Record it. Comment to you. Once you get tied to if this is divine and someone is connected to it, that would be a branch. That means the things from it can flow out there, right? Mm-hmm. But it's got to be connected. You can't be separate. You can't bring nobody from outside there. You have to bring them to what you see. When you see something, show it to them. If they get it from you, they can send it to where it's coming from. But you can't take someone who think they know something already and show them something that they don't know. Does that make sense? It's only someone who's looking for something. That's the key. The spirits are inside. If someone comes looking for something, that's what he wants. But someone got something, you're going to show them different. How you going to do it? It ain't going to work that way. The spirit inside of you. In other words, anyone wants something, you show them what you see from your page here. Then they can go to the page, and then that credit to them. So that person who finds the page, they couldn't have found it without their help, right? And that's the thing you have at the fruit, at the reckoning time. You don't have your own thing. You got to work to build this house, right? To build this house, you bring in those who lost. You ain't bringing nobody who were not lost. Does that make sense to you? You want your brother. You want your wife. You want that ain't worth a damn. You want when you have them wanting it and you know where it is. Then you can easily show it to them. You can't show it to them when they believe it's out there. If they believe it down there in the cave, and you don't know where it is, but you know what you saw, how you going to convince them otherwise? You're not supposed to convince them. Can't nobody come unless they're drawn. You got to be drawn to it. So it's my time to go. Mark 4, right?
Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Chapter 4. And he began again to teach by the seaside. And there was gathered unto him a great multitude, so that he entered into a ship, and sat in the sea, and the whole multitude was by the sea on the land. And he taught them many things by parables, and said unto them in his doctrine, Hearken, behold, there went out a sower to sow. And it came to pass, as he sowed, some fell by the wayside, and the fowls of the air came and devoured it up. And some fell on stony ground, where it had not much earth. and immediately it sprang up because it had no depth of earth. But when the sun was up, it was scorched, and because it had no root, it withered away. And some fell among the thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it, and it yielded no fruit. And other fell on good ground, and it yielded fruit that sprang up and increased, and brought forth some 30, and some 60, and some 100. And he said unto them, He that hath ears to hear, let him hear. And when he was alone, they that were about him with the 12 asked of him the parable. And he said unto them, Unto you it is given to know the mysteries of the kingdom of God. But unto them that are without, all these things are done in parables, that seeing they may see, and not perceive, and hearing they may hear, and not understand, lest at any time they should be converted, and their sins should be forgiven them. And he said unto them, Know ye not this parable? And how then will ye know all parables? The sower soweth the word, and these are they by the wayside, where the word is sown, but when they have heard, Satan cometh immediately and taketh away the word that was sown in their hearts. And these are likewise which are sown on stony ground, who, when they have heard the word, immediately receive it with gladness, and have no root in themselves, and so endure but for a time. Afterward, when affliction or persecution ariseth for the word's sake, immediately they are offended. And these are they which are sown among thorns, such as hear the word, and the cares of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and the lusts of other things entering in, choke the word, and it becometh unfruitful. And these are they which are sown on good ground, such as hear the word and receive it, and bring forth fruit, some 30-fold, some 60, and some 100. And he said unto them, Is a candle brought to be put under a bushel or under a bed, and not to be set on a candlestick? For there is nothing hid which shall not be manifested, neither was anything kept secret, but that it should come abroad. If any man have ears to hear, let him hear. And he said unto them, Take heed what ye hear. With what measure ye mete, it shall be measured to you. And unto you that hear shall more be given. For he that hath, to him shall be given, and he that hath not, from him shall be taken even that which he hath. And he said, So is the kingdom of God, as if a man should cast seed into the ground, and should sleep, and rise night and day, and the seed should spring and grow up, he knoweth not how. For the earth bringeth forth fruit of herself, first the blade, then the ear, after that the full corn in the ear. And when the fruit is brought forth, immediately he putteth in the sickle, because the harvest is come. And he said, Whereunto shall we liken the kingdom of God? Or with what comparison shall we compare it? It is like a grain of mustard seed, which when it is sown in the earth is less than all the seeds that be in the earth. But when it is sown, it groweth up, and becometh greater than all herbs, and shooteth out great branches, so that the fowls of the air may lodge under the shadow of it. And with many such parables spake he the word unto them, as they were able to hear it. But without a parable spake he not unto them. And when they were alone, he expounded all things to his disciples. And the same day, when the even was come, he saith unto them, Let us pass over unto the other side. And when they had sent away the multitude, they took him even as he was in the ship. And there were also with him other little ships. And there arose a great storm of wind, and the waves beat into the ship, so that it was now full. And he was in the hinder part of the ship, asleep on a pillow. And they wake him, and say unto him, Master, carest thou not that we perish? And he arose and rebuked the wind, and said unto the sea, Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. And he said unto them, Why are ye so fearful? How is it that ye have no faith? And they feared exceedingly, and said one to another, What manner of man is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him?
Okay, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.